Hi, this is Mike. I'm burnt out, fed up, and my eyes hurt from all the detail work, so I'm walking away from the city for a while. Here's what I've gotten done so far. For those of you who've been following my railroad, you'll remember that both of these city blocks are built on lift-out panels, so I can get access to the back of the railroad. When my last video ended, I was having some problem with slight bow in the panels. Well, I fought with that for about a month and finally ended up scrapping the entire piece and starting again. Okay, instead of foam core for the curbs, I cut some 9/16 strips of foam and used them, and the buildings are all based on that. My next problem is leveling out the actual buildings. The blocks slope downhill, so I had to find something to fill in the gap from one side of the building to the other. I started out using wood shims, but because of the slope in the buildings, I ended up having to cut hand sand concave parts into these, and that took way too long. I next tried using foam and sanding that down, and that works pretty well, but you end up with a lot of rip out and rough spots in the front of the foam. Okay. Now, then I tried Durham's water putty, and this works pretty well for the flat-fronted buildings, but it's real hard to get the ones with any complex fronts. You'll see these on the Maritime buildings. You have to build these out to get it. And the last few buildings, I ended up using foam and sanding that down, and then filling with the clay, and that worked pretty well. Okay, the curbs are painted with the Woodland Scenics concrete color, and I don't like that. It's way too yellow for my taste. I'm gonna have to finish this section out with it, but I won't be buying any more of this. I'm hoping I can gray it up some more with some dusting powders or something along that lines. The streets are painted with the Woodland Scenics asphalt, and I like that pretty well. It gives a pretty good color. And as you can see just from the dust that's accumulated there, it weathers in pretty well. Now onto the buildings themselves. First I removed all the bases and the old incandescent lighting from the buildings that are here. I'll show you the lighting I've done in a moment. Okay. Now the Waterworks building hasn't been done yet at all, so we'll skip that one. The Bluebird Cafe, this was an MTH sports bar, which I gutted, installed LEDs, and did the mortar work. Okay, the next building is the first one I ever did with LEDs. Now we used the yellows in this, and the yellows are actually a bit dim, and I may end up going this. We used tinted glass in the top 2 floors on this. Next building is the Maritime mashup. I haven't got any interior, even the back on this one yet. Then we've got the 2 Woodland Scenics buildings. They haven't been done yet. Then another mashup. Now this building here, I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be yet. And the tape is up there because when I re-glued the building, or when I glued it back together, it ended up cattywampus there. So I'm holding it down until I can get some bracing to straighten that up. Now I covered mortar work and the painting detail in another video, which I'll get out in a few days. And the last building was another Maritime kit. I totally disassembled this, stripped the paint, repainted it, and I've installed interior walls and the LED lighting on that one. Okay, the street lamps, a little hard to see in this view. These are some old Lemax lamp posts that my mom got for her Dickens Village. You can get these dirt cheap after Christmas, whatever's left over. I totally redid these, had to cut them all apart and redo them. I installed yellow LEDs in them originally, but they were too dim, so I took those out and put white ones back in and actually painted them with a real light coat of cadmium yellow acrylic. Now the light is a little too green for my taste, so I may try a different color yellow on the next batch. Okay, let's turn the lights on. Okay, here you can see the lights on. This is with all the other room lights on. Now you can see how harsh these white LEDs are, and then the yellow LEDs are real dim here. It's real hard to see with the lights on at all. Now here's the street lamps. They show up in this, okay? So you can see they're the yellow is a little bit green for my tastes. Okay, so that's about it for this video. I hope you got something useful out of it. If you found a better way, leave a comment. If you got questions, leave a comment. When you leave a comment, I can look at your railroad. I found some really nice railroads just clicking on your comments and checking out your channels. So that's about it for this video. We'll finish up with the lights out.